Today on Investigate TV Plus Weekend, same doctors, same nurses, but higher bills. Why some patients receive a hospital bill at their doctor's office.
You know, I'm pretty good about looking over my statements. Yeah, I was just completely shocked and I thought there's got to be some mistake.
Plus, a shortage of popular weight loss drugs leads to an increase in unregulated copies.
These new compounds, we don't know the side effects and we don't know how it's going to affect other organs and the body in itself.
And as drug prices increase, tips to help you save money on your prescriptions.
It's sticker shock like with everything else. We as consumers really don't have much control.
Investigate TV Plus Weekend starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV Plus Weekend. I'm Lee Zurich. For years, you might have the same doctor's office, same insurance, even the same routine treatment, and then get slapped with a much higher bill, suddenly getting charged for a hospital visit. Reporter Carice Jackman and partner KFF Health News explain one reason that's happening more frequently.
I think we are set to go.
Rolling. All right.
All right, I'm going to start recording now on my end.
Recording in progress.
Can we turn the water bottle just a little? That's perfect.
Ready to go? All right.
Cervical dystonia and dystonia, other forms, it's very painful. So muscles are in constant spasm and contraction. You know, my head is in constant motion, my shoulder is in constant motion.
Is that why you're holding your neck, Karen, to keep your head still?
Yes, it does help. It's what they call a sensory trick. So my brain is constantly telling the muscles to contract and move, and this helps minimize it, actually, and it helps keep my head straighter. So if I remove my hand, my head is going to go to the right, it's going to tilt to the right, and my shoulder will come up.
For 5 years, Karen Blanzy regularly received treatment for her condition at a medical clinic in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Her insurance paid 100% of the cost. That was until February of this year.
You know, I'm pretty good about looking over my statements. Yeah, I was just completely shocked and I thought there's got to be some mistake.
Instead of her bill saying zero, Blanzy had a balance of more than $1,100.
They said that it was just some changes that they had made. My insurance company said the same, and that it was a revenue code. They had switched from billing as an office visit for treatment, and they switched it to outpatient hospital services.
And there was nothing different about your treatment?
No.
Same provider, same doctors, same nurses?
Yep, same place that I had always gone. Nothing had changed.
What did change had nothing to do with the treatments or even the building, but the business. Blanzy's clinic is owned by Corewell Health, a big health system that is the result of a merger a couple of years ago. At the end of last year, Corewell announced to patients that some clinics would now be owned and operated by the hospitals. In December, Blanzy got this letter from Corewell Health about the billing changes, stating that she can expect to see 2 charges on her statements from them in the future, and that the clinic will begin provider-based billing. The letter says even though the clinic or practice Blanzy went to may be located several miles away from an actual hospital, the facility itself may be owned by the hospital or considered part of it. Corewell added this is common in large health systems, where the hospital system owns the space and employs some of the team members. She requested they rebill her insurance using the in-office code, like they've done on her bill since 2019. But they refused to do so.
For them to change the way they bill it and say that it's a hospital service as an outpatient, it just didn't make sense to me.
Investigate TV reached out to Corewell Health for an on-camera interview. Corewell confirmed late last year Blanzy's neurology office became a hospital outpatient department owned and operated by Corewell Health Grand Rapids Hospitals, and stated the change was not a result of the merger. But they declined to discuss her case due to patient privacy and didn't explain the coding.
And look at this, look at this nonsense. The way the clinic's listed below bill for services is changing, and then you have like pages of which clinics might be affected, but not how, How is that okay?
Dr. Elizabeth Rosenthal, senior contributing editor of our partner KFF Health News, isn't surprised.
You and I both investigate these things, but how's a patient to know? If I opened that bill, I would be really alarmed.
She says hospital charges for non-hospital care is a concern she hears from patients all the time.
And what had happened, and we see this all over the country, is the doctor's office where she got the treatment, which was a Botox shot, was suddenly rebranded as a hospital. So she was getting a hospital facility fee charge or a hospital code.
In fact, our partners, KFF Health News, found that the share of physicians working for a hospital or in a practice owned at least partially by a hospital or healthcare system increased from 29% in 2012 to 41% in 2022.
The U.S. Public Interest Research Group, or PIRG, says hospital billing codes allow for higher payments to support hospital infrastructure, like intensive care units, specialized equipment, and other expenses for fully staffed hospitals. Other costs come in what are typically called facility fees, flat fees meant to offset these extra costs of maintaining a large hospital, even if you don't actually go to the main building.
And we see this over and over again. The rebranding of doctors' offices, of outpatient clinics as hospitals for the purpose of billing.
And should the burden of that transition, that change, fall on the patient?
Well, how's a patient to know? One of the hospitals I went to asked patients to sign a consent form beforehand saying, you realize that as of this year, we're going to be charging you a hospital facility fee. But I have to say that was in a hospital. This was not. So I think it's another one of our buyer beware warnings in healthcare.
Some states are working on solutions. Research from Georgetown University shows these states, including Colorado, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, and Washington, are trying to cut through the confusion of outpatient facility fees. Maine, for example, has a public notice requirement where providers must notify consumers online and in signage at the facility where they charge a facility fee. But many states don't have any specific protections. Some advocates are calling for the implementation of what's called
site-neutral payments. So basically, the payment is determined by the treatment you got, not where it was given. So whether it was in a hospital or an outpatient clinic or a doctor's office, it's the treatment that determines the charge. And that just seems much, much fairer than expecting patients to kind of figure out, is my doctor's office now considered a hospital?
But some critics of site-neutral payment reforms, mainly hospital industry representatives, believe those requirements could lead some hospitals to actually scale back or eliminate services at hospital outpatient departments, or could lead to decreases in revenue for hospitals, ultimately affecting patient care. As for Blanzy, she can't afford to pay over $1,100 every 3 months. Her treatments have stopped, while her contractions and muscle spasms continue every day.
I'd like to see them be more transparent. The bill is mine. I don't think I can do anything about that, but I can't be the only person that this has happened.
So the cost of care is the last thing on a patient's mind.
Our team reached out to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services about this issue. A spokesperson said in a statement that the agency recognizes how this confusion can lead to unexpected bills for patients. They're working with other agencies to get patients' cost estimates before treatment, particularly for those with commercial insurance.
Coming up, patients desperate to get popular weight loss drugs face a name brand shortage. We dive into unregulated copies coming up. The demand for weight loss drugs is outpacing supply, with the Food and Drug Administration continuously reporting shortages of semaglutide, the injectable drug initially used to treat type 2 diabetes, and now the active ingredient in Ozempic, Wegovy, and other popular weight loss medications. But Lauren Traeger in St. Louis found a legal loophole facilitates easy access to unregulated weight loss injections, something that concerns both medical professionals and pharmaceutical companies.
We've heard the commercials and seen the social media posts. Injectable drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy.
It's just gonna be smooth sailing.
Now proven to help people get healthy.
I was definitely emotionally eating. I knew it.
Alex Bach's a nurse from South St. Louis County.
Go.
Working full-time and caring for Oscar overwhelmed the new mom.
Nope, definitely not. I need help. I need a leg up, I need a hand.
So she, like so many, decided to try an injectable weight loss drug. Trouble is, she can't get the name brands. Instead, she's using an unapproved alternative with the very same active ingredient that she gets from a local med spa.
I was surprised about that she was charging a reasonable price.
Though she trusts her provider, she has wondered what's inside.
So you can't even see what's in there. So it's like, what is in there?
Every week, injecting herself with syringes and the medication provided by the spa.
But you might be wondering, spas selling medicine that's not FDA approved? How can that be? Well, the answer gets kind of convoluted. The Food and Drug Administration regulates big drug makers, and only after rigorous testing and inspections were drugs like Wegovy and Ozempic FDA approved. But when drugs are listed on the FDA's drug shortage list, companies are allowed by federal law to create copycat versions, intended as a good thing to fill a short-term but vital need for patients needing the meds. The issue, though, those copies made by compounding pharmacies are not under the same rules and guidelines as other drugs.
So it's happening, and people should be really concerned about it.
Dr. Deepu Suakaran, a bariatric surgeon with Mercy Hospital, says the FDA-approved injectables can be effective for certain patients. He's concerned about the unapproved versions.
Is it possible you could be injecting yourself with something you don't even know what's in there?
Correct. I mean, absolutely, you don't know.
But getting them is astonishingly easy. Semaglutide, the active ingredient in the approved medications, is being sold in unapproved versions all over. At med spas and online, with only a click, companies shipping semaglutide right to you.
These new compounds, we don't know the side effects, and we don't know how it's going to affect other organs and the body in itself.
And he says, unlike approved versions, which come in pre-dosed pens, semaglutide often comes in a vial in these methods. And he says there can be inadequate training on how to stick yourself.
Injection site problems, infections, necrosis, things like that.
What could possibly go wrong?
Ed Timms, the CEO and founder of a pharmaceutical company making microdoses of injectable drugs for eye surgeries, not weight loss drugs. But he, too, says he's grown concerned about compounded semaglutide suddenly being mass-produced. The loophole in the law, he says, creating a major potential problem.
So does that mean just now any compounding pharmacy can basically make a copy?
Yes, ma'am, they can. Yes, they can. They can make a copy immediately. They need not notify the state. They only just need to begin producing it.
Barry Cadden put profits over patients.
He points to the past. Just a decade ago, 753 patients in 20 states were diagnosed with a fungal infection after using contaminated injectable steroids made by the New England Compounding Center. More than 60 people died, and many more were permanently injured or paralyzed.
That's what's so phenomenally dangerous about a sterile injectable drug being mass-produced by people that are simply not qualified to engage in manufacturing.
He worries what could happen now with so many people slipping semaglutide under their skin.
It's not a matter of if a catastrophe happens, Lauren, it's only a matter of when.
The FDA, in fact, is aware of some reported adverse effects of unapproved semaglutide. Reports, in some cases, they say, of compounders using salt forms of the drug. They are warning consumers and sending letters, one just last month to state medical boards saying, quote, while compounded drug products containing semaglutide may be lawfully marketed under federal law, please be advised that FDA does not evaluate the safety, effectiveness, or quality of compounded drug products before such drugs are marketed. Further writing on their website, quote, these drugs may be counterfeit, which means they could contain the wrong ingredients, contain too little, too much, or no active ingredient at all, or contain other harmful ingredients.
Be your own best advocate ask questions.
But doing so isn't always easy.
The multi-months that you add on, you're going to get a discount.
We made an appointment at this med spa in Chesterfield. The consultant couldn't initially answer my questions about where their semaglutide was made, but later texted me to say they get it from Innovation Compounding Pharmacy LLC in Georgia. Our review of their records indicates they've had no recent issues. But online, I contacted a company called Premium Health. After a virtual visit with a doctor based out of state, lasting about 10 minutes, I qualified. But only after extensive research did I learn about the pharmacy where those drugs were made. Anazao Health Corporation, with locations in Tampa and Las Vegas. They do have a history of concerns with the FDA. In 2021, officials issued a warning letter about the company for violations of federal law, and inspectors were back observing further concerns with the facility in 2022, including reports of more than 24 adverse events from the company's other drug products, including reports of death, heart attack, stroke, and breast cancer.
Bottom line, does the government need to step in and better regulate all of this?
I think that the regulations are on the books. What needs to be done is enforcement.
The FDA insists they, quote, vigilantly monitor the internet for fraudulent or unapproved products and has issued warning letters to stop the distribution of illegally marketed semaglutide. But Tim's still worried.
It's staggering that it's come to this point.
Meanwhile, back in South County,
I don't think you should be able to just buy drugs off the internet.
Alex knows the nurse practitioner who prescribed her semaglutide and spoke with pharmacists who said it's likely safe.
I think you just really need to do your research. It's really important to do your research.
To spend better quality time with Oscar,
Baby in the bucket.
She says she just wants to be healthier.
It's a really good head start.
Reporter Brendan Keefe examined the labels on these medications, as well as rare reports of depression and suicide from people who took the injectable drugs and what the FDA is doing about it. You can find that by going to InvestigateTV.com and searching FDA. You can also stream that story and others from Investigate TV anytime directly on your television. Download our free app on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV devices today. Up next, a study finds from 2021 to 22, the cost of new prescription drugs increased 23%. How to save money on prescriptions after the break. As the cost of living increases, you and your family may be looking for ways to save money. Often that means cutting back on certain parts of your budget. But when it comes to your health, that is often not an option. Reporter Cassidy Williams in Connecticut explains why you might want to consider not using your insurance.
A lot has changed at the Canfield Corner Pharmacy in the 147 years since it was built at the corner of Main Street in Woodbury.
The costs of drugs themselves have skyrocketed, and that's part of the problem for everything.
Mary Terrell has been the owner and pharmacist since the 1980s. She says the way prescription prices work has only gotten more complicated with time. It can be hard to predict what exactly you'll end up paying.
It's sticker shock like with everything else. We as consumers really don't have much control.
But you do have options.
Just like we do homework for buying a car or buying a plane ticket, you need to do that when it comes to your healthcare.
Doug Hirsch is the co-founder of GoodRx. The website allows you to search specific drugs and compare prices in your area. It also allows you to download coupons that can save up to 90%.
What do you think's holding people back from realizing they should be shopping around?
I think healthcare is so scary and so confusing and so important that people are very hesitant to break away from what they've been doing for so long.
A study published this fall by the University of Toledo found Americans could have saved more than $1 billion if they had used GoodRx to buy prescriptions instead of going through their insurance. Another example, Connecticut recently launched its own discount card program through ArrayRx. Any Connecticut resident can get one. It took us only a few minutes to fill out the form and get our own digital card.
The old system's not working. It's literally breaking. And so everyone has to change.
Prices can vary greatly depending on the drug and where you are. Here's one example in Woodbury's zip code. For a 30-day supply of sertraline, the generic form of the antidepressant Zoloft, ArrayRx lists the price at CVS at just under $26. The price at Stop & Shop, $73. GoodRx shows prices as low as $9 at ShopRite, Rite Aid, Big Y, and Price Chopper. If you paid cash at Canfield Corner Pharmacy, you'd be charged $12.
There's a lot of deviation everywhere. You have to be savvy.
Even though in this example you may pay a couple dollars more at her counter, Terrell says there's something you can't put a price on: a relationship with a local pharmacist.
Your pharmacist can explain to you why it's that price, why they have to charge that price, whether they can do better for you or not.
Coming up, you don't have to be a financial advisor to understand the benefits of making your money work for you. Tips to find savings accounts with high interest rates, coming up. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes. One benefit of higher interest rates has been the amount of money you can make on many types of saving accounts. Rachel DePompa speaks with a financial expert about the different types of accounts that help you earn more interest in this week's Watching Your Wallet.
If you have money in a bank, savings account, or money market account, remember to look at your statement every few months.
Whether it's online or the old paper statement, Michael Joyce with the financial firm Agili says you want to check on your interest rate.
Because a lot of banks are still paying somewhere in the range of 0.05%, which does round to zero. But you can get higher rates, maybe even at the bank that you're, where you have your money, your savings account.
Joyce says you should research money market accounts and ask about short-term CDs and treasury bills, which can get you an even higher rate of return. He says credit unions are also an option and may offer a higher rate. He also says you can look at some of the online banks, which do offer really great rates of return right now, but just make sure they are FDIC insured.
Bank failures are still low from a historical standpoint, but it's important to have your funds insured, because if the bank does fail, you want to have access to your funds. You don't want to lose those funds.
Joyce says interest rates won't stay high forever, which is why it's great to make sure your money is really working for you.
And there's still time to check on those high-yield online savings accounts.
And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV Plus Weekend. Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms.